Hello everybody, welcome back to No Man's Sky with your host Koei Gaming here, and we are here in my field of dreams with the sun rising. This is the perfect time for this, so let's get us started with this episode on power. More specifically, solar panels, biofuel reactors, and electromagnetic generators. Let's get to it. Alright folks, so the first thing I want to tell you guys about power is the solar panels. Once the sun rises, you start generating about this much power, 25 kp of use. And that will be the thing that powers your line, and as you can see, it's not enough power to power anything, because why? The solar panel here is generating less power than what is necessarily used, which is the 40 kp used. The 40 kp used, by the way, I must point out, is going to be this livestock thing, this livestock unit, and the automatic auto feeder unit. And so both of these will not be powered until the battery has about 40 kp used or greater. Then that's when the battery will finally turn itself on and start working. This only happens early morning and late evening, before the sun completely drops and before daylight completely ends or starts, so to speak. So if you go to solar panel, you can see I've got 3 seconds remaining for dark hours. As soon as the dark hours end, this here will change and it will start to go into daylight power. However, if you notice it's not changing right off the bat, you have to wait a little, just a tiny little bit of time, and you'll find out that grid power storage will eventually go from 25 kp to 50 kp. So each solar panel is worth 50 kp each, and as you can see, biofuel reactor is also worth, I'm going to just turn this thing on, it's also worth 50 kp in terms of power output as well. And so that is going to power all of these for 50 kp. So when you guys go about building for bases and stuff, so I've got all of this here wired up to connect to a base over here, and if you notice, none of it is powered. It goes all the way down to the end there. If you notice, none of it is powered. It's not powered because the solar panels are not yet generating enough power, and there it goes. It just started just now. This is perfect timing. I walked up right on it. And now we are generating 200 kp of power, and the output of one solar panel is 50 kp. Why is it 200? It's because these solar panels link up 50, 100, 150, 200. So if you want to try to connect your base up together, the best idea would be to do a setup like this, where you have one battery, 4 solar panels mounting up on a battery, and that will give each battery an entire system. And by the way, the reason this power output says nothing is because the battery's not actually going to really anything there, and so it's completely charged because I'm getting 800 kp available for 40 kp used, and so there's really no power output currently from the battery. But if you go to the solar panel, you see each panel generating 50. That's creating the 800 because I've got one set of 200 for this battery, 400. By the time I get to this one, 600, and then finally 800. And so if you want to power a base, you want to at least know how much power does your solar panel need, how much power does your base need. And as you can see, my base is being powered by a lot of things. This base currently is disconnected because I disconnected something. I wanted to show you something really important. For some of you guys who like building this wonderful object here over in Power and Industry, go over to Industrial, go over to Supply Depot. A lot of you guys like building supply depot, and a lot of you guys like to connect a line from here to here. And these, by the way, are not connected. Let's go connect these guys back up, and we'll connect this back up to the power supply. And we got power running now all the way to supply depot, and a lot of you guys like to try to do this and connect power from the supply depot to other things. You'll notice the supply depot does not supply any power on its terminals. Both terminals will not supply power. Okay, the only terminal that will be the power line that goes over to the rest of the build. Okay, and you see how that one turned blue just now. I'm going to go over to the one I did in parallel versus the one I did in series. So there's a gap here. This is also where I put the supply depot here before. I'm going to go hook up the supply depot one more time. And you notice that the power did not actually get affected by the supply depot here because I wired this entire area. I'm going to just zoom up a little bit higher. This entire area, from the batteries to the solar panels to the extractors to the buildings to the other buildings and so on all the way to the end, all of it is completely powered in parallel. So if I start deleting things, like there's a gap right here right now, if I start deleting things, the power to the battery and other buildings will still be powered on because everything's wired in parallel. Our houses, by the way, are wired in parallel. So that's the only reason why we have overloaded circuits. However, right now in the game, the overloaded circuits do not yet work. So we can't have a way to have a circuit breaker switch where it flips off the circuit for just the sections that are dead. So for example, if I put a wall switch here or something like that, it will not switch off when this thing's overloaded in the area where it should be overloaded. Maybe in a future update. This line, however, the line that you're seeing with the solar panels, followed by the battery, followed by all these tractors, followed by the buildings, etc., etc., all of these are wired in serial. And the reason that there is nothing in the rest of the wires here, I'll show you right now. So we're going to get some wire connected up to here. We're going to get some wire connected up to here. And just keep wiring all of these in serial. If you notice, nothing is being powered because nothing is connected, at least until we get to that one. And once that one powered, everything finally powers up, going all the way down to the battery at the other end of the system. So serial wiring, the only problem with serial wiring is if you delete something, like if you delete this, unless you have a power line like that and you accidentally delete the power line itself to the rest of the building, everything else goes dark. So it's up to you if you want to wire in parallel or if you want to wire in serial. It depends on what you want, what you have preferences of. If your build's basically going to be one big giant building with a base that has tons of stuff in it, then hey, go ahead and wire in parallel or serial. It won't matter either way, as long as you got power to your base, basically. What matters more in bases is the power you start getting out of the solar panels, or the power you get out of the biofuel reactors. So if you notice, each one of these biofuel reactors right here are empty. As soon as I turn it on, I get 50 power that's powering this thing. And as long as I have objects like these two here that are sorry, I'm saying this wrong. As long as I have objects here that are less powerful than the fuel that's getting it, I can at least have it. But as soon as I put in, say, a building, we're just going to stick a random building right here. Yeah, I know, that was fun. As soon as I put in a building right here and I put a wire from this to the building, it still has power. Why does it still have power? Because it was 40 before, the building raised it up 10 more, now we're at 50. And now I'm going to add one more building. We're going to attach in a small building this time, so that way I have a little space to stick it in here. Come on, work with me. There we go. We got another building here. We're going to run a wire from this building to the previous building. It still has power. Why does it have power? Because again, we're using one biofuel reactor so far. We're at 55 used for 50 available. But look, the grid power storage is decreasing and dropping. It's dropping because it's now drawing power from the batteries. Even though these other guys look like they're running, they're actually not running. They're only powered on because the battery's powering these guys. It's very bizarre how these biofuel reactors work. Unless I turn this one on, I am eventually going to run out of power for the building. So it looks like I may have power for my buildings, but eventually the battery is going to run out of juice any second now. And both of these will power off. And the only way to fix this is to essentially turn on another biofuel reactor and or install additional solar panels. So this is something important you need to remember about power, guys. See, there it goes. It's turned itself off. We have now power coming in, but we don't have enough used power available for this. So the only way to, again, to fix that is let's power up another fuel. Get that going. Now we got 100 for 55, and the buildings are being powered. A lot of these guys here, the hydroponics bay, the storage containers, the appearance modifier, there we go. These lights and stuff, the power health shield thing, the portal, which I'm going to probably take that too, and the livestocks, and this wonderful teleporter. A lot of these things could be built right inside the prefab building. So let me go ahead and get a door for that prefab building. We're just going to go with the hollow door just so we can see. I said we're going to go with the hollow door. I'm putting it on the other end. What's going on here? Cannot build. Let's attach a structure. It is attached to structure. I wonder where I'm putting this. Oh my god, I have hollow doors inside that thing now. Fun! Anyway, so a lot of these things, as long as you put these guys inside of a build, they will power itself up. So we're going to take the portal, for example. I'm going to show you starting with the portal and go inside prefab, and you will be able to see the portal activate with the activation of the portal. We have to go to tech. We have to go down to general, find our base portal. We'll just stick it right here. And there we go. We got power for the portal. We're also going to do this with a few others. We're going to take the power station, stick those up on the walls. These now have power. We're going to take the appearance modifier. I can't build it because I'm like too close to the thing. There we go. It now has power coming up into it. I don't have to worry about it anymore. The automated feeder cannot be put inside, and although it's... Wait, actually, can it? Let me find out. Let's go delete those guys. We'll try it on the inside of this guy. Okay, there we go. They can be put inside. Who knew? But you'll notice something, that it is powered. You can see the little green light there. It has power going to it, even though it's inside the build. It's very odd that that works. And even the big giant one here, you see the light going from red, and it's still red. This one cannot be put inside the build. And so this is kind of the way you can sort of tell whether or not a building part can or cannot be inside of a build or not. What I'm looking for here, I will find it in a moment. I'm looking for the portals. Alright, the thing with the storage containers, you cannot put them inside of a building currently. I'm hoping the bug gets fixed. You also cannot put them on floors. I'm also hoping that bug gets fixed. And so the easiest and best way to do this is stick a storage container on the outside of a cubed building. So like this, stick a storage container there. And as long as that has power, you will be able to get power to the storage building. Let me get another door for this thing and just kind of pop this thing open so we can get inside of it. And so you can see now the storage container now has power inside of a cuboid room. And that's probably the best way to do it, is to stick it inside the walls of a cuboid room. Otherwise, you're going to be sticking these storage containers out here on the outer edge. Okay, folks, short range teleporters, you can stick those in your base, and they will develop power as long as they're inside a prefab building. So as long as either you're looking at essentially prefabs like this one here, a prefab building, and or a cuboid room, much like the one where we attach our storage container over there. Either of those two will power just about every base component that you have, with the exception of the ones that need to be outside. I have yet to show you the hydroponics bay. I will stick at least one hydroponics bay in there. Let's go to structures, specialists, aquatics, not aquatics. We're looking for tech specialist. There we go. Farming, hydroponics. We're going to stick a small one in there. That way you can see that the small one does indeed have power, and we'll stick the large one right around here. And you can see the large one also indeed does have power. And we have power to both rooms, although you want to be mindful of the large one to make sure it doesn't stick out like this. Okay, folks? Alright, folks, so unlike the solar panels and the biofuel reactors, these electromagnetic generators generate 220 kp of power, but this happened to be based on the class of section that you're looking at, the electromagnetic power hotspot. So mine just happens to be class B, therefore it's 220 kp. You can stack these as well, just like the others. This one connected with 4 of them, so they give me 880 kp available of use. So this would have been 4, 8, 12, 16 solar panels to get the exact same power that this one had here. So I can have 4 of these for 16 solar panels on a class B. And the battery will get powered. Now, a lot of people try to do this sort of thing and put a wire here that goes from point A to point B, which happens to be all the way down there at the base itself. The problem is, this is a separate base, okay? I made 2 separate bases here, as you can see. So do not make a base over there and make a base over here and expect that power will travel between the 2 bases. Now, the irony between these 2 bases is the bases are actually both connected to each other, but the power does not travel from base A to base B. There is a section here, I don't know where it is in here because I've yet to find it, that where the base A and base B are actually separate bases, then the powers will not connect. It will take me a while to sort of figure out where that line actually is located currently. But, so, I have this connected to a hydroponics bay over on this side, just to show you that it does not work if you power electromagnetics on one side versus the other. What I recommend is doing the base extension procedure. I'll show you a version of it here, and then I'm going to show you a version of it in a completely different episode. So guys, you can see my main base is right over there. I managed to expand the base all the way out into the water here, and then I managed to get the base expanded into the water itself. I'll explain why this is all here for later, and see what I can do with that. That, by the way, is a regular base component, just pointing that out. In shallow water, it works. So the idea here is we got this base here, and we want to expand it, say, that way into the woods over there. So if we turn this on, turn it to structure so we can see what's going on here. If we go walk all the way out as far as we can go, usually it's about 200 U. This one happened to be a little shorter because I've already been expanding the base. So you can see how the structure disappeared. This happened to be the boundary. Right about here is where our boundary is. So what we have to do is we have to go back behind the boundary, and notice your cursor needs to be behind the boundary too. We can either put in a building, such as a room. I'll just put a room for the sake of it. And if we look again, we would now be able to go beyond the boundary a little bit more, at least for another 50, 100 U, before I run out of space and I can't use it. There it goes. It turned itself off. Or we can go the cheaper way of just installing batteries. And some people just use the batteries because it's cheaper and we need batteries for everything, okay? So we're just going to put a battery here. Same thing, same idea. Don't even need to connect anything and just walk out another 50, 100, whatever it is, until that icon eventually disappears from the... And what you want to keep it on is preferably the structured one, because that way you can see if it's turning on or turning off. There we go. And we've already expanded our base, have you noticed? This far away from the battery, this far away from that other building. So we've already gone about this far, however far that is right now. That's how you do base expansion, folks. Alright, folks, that's it for this episode on power. I hope you guys liked the idea about figuring out how solar panels work, how biofuel reactors work, and how electromagnetic generators work, at least the basics of electromagnetic generators. So if you liked this episode, please do like, subscribe, leave me comments, let me know what you think. Why this is all unpowered before I go? It's because the solar panels have run out of juice, so you want to probably have a few more batteries in your juice and or alternative means to power your base, especially if you have a large base to work with. Preferably if you have more power going in than is going out, you will probably do a better job powering the base all through the night, and it is possible to reach the entire night of power if you can do it really well. Alright guys, so if you liked this episode, again, like, subscribe, leave me comments, and I will see you guys in the next one. Have a good one. Bye for now. Have you wondered about this when you have a light here and you connect this line to power and you turn off the light? Kind of fun. Connect that to a wall switch, you can have that light turned off all the time. Isn't that interesting? Just noticing how inverters work on this thing.